butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.
What's going on, guys? So, nothing sexier on a synth channel than a handful of books, am I right? So, honestly, over the years, the biggest thing that has actually set me apart sometimes as a synthesist or someone getting hired to do music is that I know music from a lot of different angles, from VST string arranging to music theory to, of course, being able to be a good performer or player. So, and books have been a lot of the building blocks to my success, you know? In all reality, books can only get you part of the way there, and in my opinion, putting the time in is more important than anything. So anyways, here's my top 3 books that I think are good for synth keyboardists adjacent. So number 1, Analog Synthesis by Reinhard Schmitz, and this book was fantastic in helping me wrap my head around the fundamentals and building blocks of a synthesizer. Going from the history of synthesis and synthesizers to different waveforms, different filter types, some talk about modular and LFOs, etc. This is a short read that you could finish in a day, though I think it took me a couple weeks back in the day because I was sort of trying out the things I had learned on my MS-2000B and then coming back and reading another bit of the book. It's kind of fun to just take it section by section. At the time, I honestly didn't know how powerful this book would be years later, but it proves to be something that I don't necessarily come back to, but realize that it was really great that I read it all those years back. This book also covers the subject of effects that might often be used in conjunction with analog synthesizers. A small section covers like the debate between true analog and virtual analog. So if you can find this book fully intact, well, when I bought it, it came with a CD with audio examples, and that I really thought that those helped illustrate sort of the concepts of the book in a audible form. So next up, we have The Guide to MIDI Orchestration by Paul Gilreath, and this is a big papa book. It's over 650 pages. And why would I suggest this to a synthesist when it's sort of a composer's book on the surface? Well, I think that a lot of synthesis enthusiasts are inspired by the scores of like John Williams or Hans Zimmer, who is a prolific synther himself. And as many of you know, much of the early synthesizer music was derived from classical compositions. And someone with an ear for synth may be into virtual instrument arranging. So a lot can be learned from this book as it goes from the introduction to the instruments in an orchestra to how to sequence for each in a DAW. So I personally like the way that this book is laid out. You can really go from a very basic level of understanding string and brass ranges to building a very basic 4-part string harmony. It has counterpoint, arranging techniques, and implementation of MIDI over hardware and software is also in here. So yeah, honestly, this book really assisted in taking my virtual instrument string arranging to the next level, guys. And last but not least, 1000 Keyboard Ideas edited by Ronald Herder. So many of us synth heads are also keyboardists too, and I really want to say that no other book gives you a grasp of going from just playing random stuff to sounding like you've got a whole bag of licks and tricks up your sleeve, you know? 1000 Keyboard Ideas literally goes from basic harmony to super simple chord creation like triads, and all the way through making 11ths and 13ths. So consistently people ask me where they can learn about music, and I think if you're a beginner and you really want to cut straight to it, get the fat out of the way, and you're willing to practice, I think this is really a great book. For my advanced peeps who already read music, I think that there's a lot of stuff that's really suited for you guys in here as well. So jazz runs, mystic chord, I mean, you can go and just pick your, whatever you want, skip around, I really don't think any synthesis and keyboardist can ever find enough fresh ideas, and I don't think this book disappoints. So lastly, 2 honorable mentions, and one is the new real book or a fake book or the real book, whatever you call it, comes in numerous forms, and it's essentially a collection of jazz standards. And I don't think that many things are as good as giving someone song starting ideas or just sitting back and removing all the fluff from the craft of picking up a song. So the new real book really helped me understand that music is a lot more simple than we make it out to be. It's rhythm, harmony, and melody. A real book really helps you see that aspect, since that's really all there is in here. You can interpret the pieces in here however you decide. So often I see people struggling to spice up their tunes with effects and all those, bells and whistles, when underneath it's really the foundation that isn't strong. So Stevie Wonder to me is the king of harmony and melody, blending incredibly complex chords with singable melodies for the everyday person. And of course, he's a big synth guy as well. Yeah, and I'm also going to include The Complete Idiot's Guide to Music Theory. I'm not the biggest fan of how this book is laid out, but the building blocks are in here. So if you're going to ask me how to improve yourself, I'd say learn some basic theory. While personally, I think that theory initially cripples budding musicians, it becomes a lifesaver when you're trying to harmonize your way out of a corner. Anyways, those are my top 3 books that I've personally owned, read, and recommend to synth keyboardists. And they're all a bit different and come at the subject from different angles. But anyway, yeah, for some of you, you are hoping that I never talk about books again. But for the rest of you, remember to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.